Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to build update. I guess this is number 3 of the league. We're just getting started on day 4. We'll be going live on Twitch soon here. But as always, I wanted to get out the build update, and really this one's going to be a lot about talking about crafting, the economy, what I'm looking to upgrade, and then answering the questions that I'm getting a lot often in the comments about the build, and just trying to figure all that out in a short video here. So first of all, I'm talking about, so I saw the title of the video, we finished crafting our wand yesterday. This is my biggest currency sink of the league, every league. And I'm going to make the cardinal sin of YouTube today, probably, of just talking about the pricing of this wand and how much it actually cost me to make. So, start with the base. We bought the fractured base for 2 divines. I think about that day 2 of the league. It's probably more expensive than that now. And then it took us 13 attempts using the fossil crafting method that I have a video out for. I'll be sure to post a link down below. Estimated cost of each fossil craft was about 30 chaos, and at that time would have been around 150 chaos for a divine, so that would be 5 rolls for 1 divine. Ends up being about 2.5 divines. So all in all, this wand cost me 4.5 divines. But good news is, oh sorry, I also mentioned we hit the annul. We had annul with a suffix to get the craft on there, so we got pretty lucky there. But all in all, this ended up costing about 4.5 divines to craft. I'll roll up to 5 divines just to be safe. And good news is there that the 3 mods that we care about alone end up being 5 divines, but we have increased damage. The only one on the market is 16 divines. So we saved a ton of money. You argue that we got pretty lucky by hitting our annulment on the first try. But this is something I do every league. When I release every league, I'm playing minions. And this is something I do to get my own wand. This will take me all the way till the end of the game. I probably won't upgrade this. Maybe if I see a good deal on a T1 increased damage wand, but this is about where we're going to sit with the wand, and I'll be using it the rest of the league. The only other crafting thing I would mention is we're going to be crafting a shield today, so expect a video on how to craft a shield. I actually think I got a pretty good deal on this one. This is item level 85 fossilized spirit shield. I paid 2 divines for this fracture. I think the rest of this craft is going to be pretty easy, but I'll find out today as I throw some currency at this and try to figure out how to get, basically we want T1 or T2 minion critical strike chance and some other minion stuff, and I'll be pretty happy. Alright, so that is the wand. I think that covers it. If you have questions, make sure to check out my wand crafting video as I kind of explain everything you need to do to create a wand like this. But also feel free to leave a comment down below. Alright, into the FAQ section of the video and questions I'm getting asked a lot about the build. First thing is Fleshcrafter. As you can see, I'm still running a 5 link. I would love to get fresh meat in here, but I consider these 5 skills, summon skeletons, minion damage, spell echo, pierce, and volley, absolutely core. Only reason I'm running Awakened is it was really cheap. I'm not sure what the price is anymore, but if it's still really cheap, sub 50 chaos, I'd probably go buy one and just start leveling it. I consider these the 5 core abilities. Really, there's no changing any of these for me. And then I wanted to add in fresh meat, but 6 link Fleshcrafter is very expensive. So the question I usually get asked though is, when do I put a Fleshcrafter on and is it needed? So it is needed, but it's not needed until you're doing red tier maps, bossing. Basically, eventually you're going to feel like your minions are doing no damage, and that's because you need to offset the elemental resistances of enemies somehow. And this is how we do it. If you're not offsetting the resistances this way, you're probably going to need to be casting a curse that isn't going to do as good as this. This Fleshcrafter alone sets the enemy's elemental resistance is 0, which is a huge damage increase. No matter what the enemy is, they have 0 elemental resistances, while our minions have energy shield. Our skeletons, using the Blessed Rebirth Jewel, don't take any damage, so for the first 4 seconds. So that first 4 seconds, they are guaranteed to have energy shield, meaning they're basically doing true damage with their abilities. So, but when to switch to Fleshcrafter, I usually go by feel, but generally that's about entering red maps. You kind of want to get your Fleshcrafter online. Next thing I'll talk about is Specters. As you can see, I'm still running 3 Specters. Don't have a level 25 or a Specter yet. Once you get to a level 25, you can have 4 Specters. I run Carnage Chieftain, Host Chieftain, which I didn't think was controversial, but apparently people don't like Host Chieftain. If you are using crit chance at all, I would use Host Chieftain, I guess. If you aren't scaling crit, then don't use Host Chieftain. That's my answer to that. And the third one I use is Wild Bristle Matron. I constantly get asked why I'm not using Primal Crush Claw. It's because I like Wild Bristle Matron. I think it's a very good defensive layer. It does a action speed debuff. It's very noticeable. I don't like dying. This helps a lot with not dying, so that's mine. The Force Specter will definitely be a Primal Crush Claw. And if I was going for full DPS, I'd actually probably use Primal Crush Claw and Primal Rex Matriarch. We actually do quite a bit of lightning damage now in the build, so Primal Rex Matriarch is a huge buff to lightning damage as well. Applies a lightning damage increased debuff to enemies. It's very nice. Also available from Harvest. Alright, let's talk about my tree. There's been a little bit of an update on the tree. Basically, this is pretty close to the end game build. We have Anointed Death Attunement to save a bunch of points up here. Only weird thing I've been doing is we've been using this Dex node. Basically, we just need to hold on to that. I want to talk about this, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to switch it to this Intelligence node after we're done using Dex and we figure out Dex on our gear. There is a tattoo that gives you +1 to all intelligence skills that takes over this intelligence node. It's getting pretty pricey, but it is by far one of the biggest damage increases. The best tattoo for this build by far. Basically all of our good skills, the skills we care about, are running intelligence. Summon skeletons mainly being the one, but also raise zombie, raise specter, are all intelligence skills, and giving them +1 just through one passive point. It's kind of insane. I've been running Decay Ward. Basically, we're having problems with minion life. I will drop this eventually. I just want to point out that if you're having problems with minion life and you're already down here, these 3 points gives your minions 30% block chance and you recover 2% of life when they block. It's kind of nice. Other things I've changed on the build just a little bit. These are all things that I'm going to undo, but basically we've added Convocation onto our left click, which I know I said was horrible, don't do it, and it is horrible, I shouldn't do it. But I needed a way that my zombies and Stone Golem were dying constantly. This gives them regen. I don't love this. The better way to do this is to get more minion levels, which is why I crafted my wand, which is why I bought the Spirit Shield. I want to fix this problem so I don't have to use Convocation at all. I want to free up this gem slot first of all. I don't want it on my left click. It feels clunky, pulling your minions away every 3 seconds. I'd rather leave them in battle, so this is a short-term fix, but if you're having problems with minion survivability, this is fine to do. I put an Avid on life tap with Sniper's Mark and Flame Dash. It's the stuff I don't want to spend any mana on. So that's an option if you are having any issues with minion survivability. The next question I get asked a lot is the 5-link. I use volley. A lot of people will come into my stream or leave in the comment down below and they'll say, hey, why aren't you using GMP? GMP is really good. It does more projectiles. GMP is really good. It also does makes your projectiles deal 30% less damage. I don't want that. I also don't want to switch out a gem every time I do a boss. So that is why. GMP is super good, way better at clearing. I will fully admit it's better at clearing than volley, as long as you're doing enough damage. As soon as you're doing enough damage that the 30% less projectile damage doesn't matter, go ahead. By all means, use GMP. But for me, volley is just better, and I don't need to switch it out for bosses. Last 2 things is going to be talking about Abyss. I've been doing Abyss since day 1 of the league. We're 3 days in. I've gotten 1 Abyssal Depths so far, which is not a good sign for my Darkness Enthroned. So Darkness Enthroned is the I'm gonna pull up trade site. Darkness Enthroned, a Stygian Vise that has 2 Abyssal Sockets. If we want, I always look for 90% plus. Really look for 95% plus increased effect. Currently running 2 Divines, which is why I run it myself instead. I hope to try to get like a bunch of these, roll them, or ID them, and hope I get a good one. With getting only 1 Abyssal Depth 3 days into the league, I'm not super hopeful on that. So I wanted to come up with some cheaper alternatives to this. If you cannot get one of these from just playing the game, I don't think I'd spend 2 Divines on it. Maybe I will eventually, but I don't think I would, unless you have really good Ghastly Eye Jewels that you want to double the increased effect of already. I would probably just use a regular Stygian Vise instead, that you can either craft yourself, buy a decent one with life, some Chaos Res, something like that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is I had some Ghastly Eye Jewels in my original build guide, and basically all they had was 30 life, increased damage if you've been so recently. As you can see, these are minimum like 20 AC, and they have like nothing else on them, nothing else useful on them. So that's pretty expensive for like 2 mods. These duels actually don't do that much added DPS. I looked on my tree, didn't do that much. So the alternative, if you don't want to do that, is I would just look for minions have minions attack. Oh god, we're doing it live. I would look for the minion attack and cast speed one. I can't remember the exact name of the mod. Instead of the damage, if you've used the minion skill recently, it is significantly cheaper. I'd pull it up here, but it was like if that plus life is only like less than 5C usually, it's about like 0.1% less DPS than the minion skill you recently. If you're looking to save some money on ghastly eye jewels, that's what I would do. Other than that, this is where my build's at. I've made the cardinal sin in this video like a few times of talking about pricing, so go ahead and ask all your questions down below about pricing and where I pull my numbers from and whatever you got to do. But if you enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe really helps as well, and check out the Twitch stream. We've been live every day for like 12 plus hours, and probably can do that again today. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.